Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video I'm delighted to bring you a one key team for the hard difficulty Hydra in rotation number 5. So yeah, rotation number 5, guys, it's very similar to rotation number 4. The big differences, two big differences, are that well, the affinities of these starting heads have changed, so that does affect us in some ways here. And then also, it's the same starting heads, except for the head of Wrath, the one that does lots of damage, builds up his vengeance counter. He is not there at the start. Instead, we have the head of Suffering coming in. Head of Suffering reduces the AoE damage all the other heads take by 30%, so he makes everything tankier. He himself is very slow, but very tanky, and he can put out reflect damage on himself, ally protection on his team. There he goes, the ally protection. We actually blocked the buffs he would put on himself using block buffs right there. And yeah, that's basically what he does. So yeah, this team I'm going to suggest for you as well a couple of replacements, so don't worry about that. There are going to be some replacement champions we can put in, so don't worry. You know, there are actually quite a few options for this week. This rotation, I should say, it is easier than the previous rotation, which is certainly good news. We're going to be getting over 40 million damage as well in this key, which is more than twice what we need for hard. So even if you have worse gear, you should still be able to, and maybe some replacement champions, you might still be able to still get a really good key out of this, right? Even if you don't have quite the gear or the champions. But nonetheless, let's dive in. Let's talk about what we're going to do. You might have noticed at the start of the run that we did a little bit of sneaky magic right there, where we basically use Mother Cybele's A1. She's our lead champion here, but she has a 50% chance to put decreased speed. So what we're going to do, we do a little bit of tech at the start of the run, where we actually try to get decreased speed on this guy over here, the Head of Decay, and not on the Head of Blight, because we want to change their speeds so that Head of Blight goes first. We put out block buffs, in this case with Archbishop Pinthroy, so then the Poison Cloud, the first Poison Cloud of the fight, it gets actually blocked by block buffs, and then the AoE cleanse comes in, right? If you don't do that decreased speed tech, the cleanse comes in first, and then Poison Cloud comes out right after, and that's very difficult. Only some very specific champions can put HP burn on through the Poison Cloud. We actually do have one of them, Geomancer, in today's team, so we could work around it, but I've just found it's just better. It makes the run go smoother, it's less stress, it's less hassle, and it's actually worth it to do that, and it doesn't take that long to just rerun the thing a couple of times until that happens. So that's what we've done. And by the way, if you do want to watch the full run of this without me commentating and waving my head around the place, that's going to be up as well. In fact, it's already, well, it's uploading as I'm recording this, and it's going to be out like a day early compared to when you guys see the video for the members of the channel. So if you want to become a channel member, you absolutely can, and that will be up there as a sort of member exclusive thing. Yeah, I figure probably a lot of people will probably skip right to the end and just want to see the champions and the gear and stuff. But if you want to watch the full thing without, you know, just the raw footage, I thought that'd be a nice little member thing. So yeah, let's talk about the champions then and what we have brought in. Let's take a look at them, shall we? We can dip in and out. We'll actually watch this bit here so we can see us breaking someone out from the Head of Mischief, who's definitely a hassle, definitely a pain. The HP burns that we have out here are definitely going to help, and especially Geomancer. Now, we have to pay attention with Geomancer, of course, because we do have this cleanse. Always be considering how you're going to use your abilities around these cleanses, right? Don't put out your big AoE debuffs like block buffs or Geomancer's burn if there's about to be a cleanse coming out. You want to save them. Funny enough with Lydia here, because her AoE decreased defense weaken move, which she just did, her Banshee's Wail or Siren's Wail, whatever it's called, because that does give you increased speed and strengthen, I actually do tend to use that anyway. But the other ones, I will try to hold on to them. And yeah, you can see a whole bunch of interesting stuff. Let's actually jump in now that we've seen someone broken free. Let's jump in. Let's take a look at some of these champions. And let's talk about who we've brought in. So first of all, Mother Cybele. Obviously, I mentioned her already with her A1 that can put the decreased speed. This is just phenomenal. Turn meter for her. AoE attack can put decreased speed and a speed aura. One of the big things we want to do in our comp, we really want decreased speed and we want increased speed for us, because putting those two, that buff and that debuff out, massively gives you more turns relative to the Hydra, and it actually will up your damage and your survivability by tons. Just try a run with increased speed and decreased speed, especially decreased speed. Try a run without it and you'll be amazed by the difference. She also brings us an AoE Revive on Death, increased defense, 3-turn cooldown, and she can do a health swap on the 3-turn cooldown. We use this very rarely. This is handy when someone gets targeted by heal reduction from Head of Decay. But we really want to use these as little as possible because of Archbishop Pinthroy, who's the new addition to this roster. You might be familiar with a lot of this roster from my Nightmare Hydra runs, where I was doing it the last 2 weeks of Rotation 4. I did Nightmare. The first time went real bad. The second time we improved, did better. We used a comp area like this. We actually want to use this relatively infrequently and mostly just spam her A1 because Archbishop Pinthroy actually can give us increased defense, right? She gives us a speed aura as well, so she is fantastic. What could you replace Mother Cybele with? It's a bit awkward, but basically anyone that's going to give you decreased speed will do the job. I just think she's one of the absolute best ones, right? She's one of the absolute best. Lydia the Deathsiren then is coming in, and unfortunately she just does so much that makes her so good. She gives us AoE decreased defense and weaken with a strength and increased speed on us on a 3-turn cooldown. This is just so amazing. Luckily, she's a guaranteed champion, though it probably takes you at least a year of playing the game to get her. She also gives us a backup block buffs on her A3. So she is just fantastic for upping our damage, reducing the damage we take, and upping our speed. She does so much. I should point out their masteries and their gear. I forgot. Let me do that again. But she has War Master and increased debuffs. I might honestly actually redo her. I think it would be better and to move her into Lasting Gifts instead. So I think I might actually need to redo her. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I think that would be better for the purposes of Hydra. But anyway, we'll come back to that. And her stats, she is running fast. She's tanky. She's got more accuracy than she needs for hard, excuse me. And yeah, that's basically what she's at. Mother Cybele is actually running, again, good speed. She's got a lot of damage, my Mother Cybele. That is not necessary, but it does add a good chunk to your run because she just is spamming that A1 so often. Not necessary, though. War Master, though, is because, again, that AoE A1, proccing War Master, then counter-attack stuff here. The other champions we have in then, we have, let's talk about Archbishop Pinthroy, the new guy. He has what I'm thinking I should do for Lydia, War Master, extended buffs and extended debuffs. What does he do for us? Brings us an AoE that gives us block buffs and a heal reduction. Think of Archbishop Pinthroy kind of like a Spirit Affinity Ugo. And yeah, if you missed him in the guaranteed summon event from Ancient Shards, don't worry. Archbishop Pinthroy, that gives you an idea for a replacement. Ugo is an epic replacement who's very similar, right? What does he do, though? Increase accuracy. Block buffs AoE on a 3-turn cooldown with Spirit Affinity is great for this rotation. Really, really good. This is great for Arena as well in some niche situations. The increased accuracy here is not really needed for hard. The accuracy requirement is pretty low. It's like 200 and something. This is good, though, for Nightmare. That's where it's going to be good, so you can start landing debuffs with your Royal Guards and whatnot. So that's very useful, but the rest, not so useful. And then this is very like Ugo, his A3. Heals all allies by 30% max HP, gives them 60% increased defense, and also will give them 30% max HP shield. This is a fantastic move. It does so much healing. It keeps your team so safe. And it's just fantastic. Then he can even transfer random debuffs away from him to the target. Has a 75% chance to steal buffs from the target as well. So you can use this to like steal increased attack off the Head of Wrath if stuff lines up badly. He has a cool passive that doesn't do much here, to be honest. And then he can give you increased accuracy if you need that. I actually, for fun, built him in protection. I would say his best set would probably be Guardian. I built him in protection, though, for fun, to try it out, and he is running kind of like this. His accuracy looks really low, but he gives himself increased accuracy before he does his stuff, so it's actually fine for Hydra. But yeah, we had some fun with him, but you can kind of build him how you want. Again, I think Guardian would be the best set. And similarly, Lydia can be built in anything. Perhaps Guardian would be her best set as well, but anything really. We have Relentless for Mother Cybele. I love this. Chance for extra turns. So good on her. But again, Guardian set could be really good too. Let's jump over real fast. Let's continue looking at our guys so you have an idea of what's going on. Then we'll look at the run. We do have Deflection set on Geomancer. Not essential. Actually, my second Geomancer is in a better set. He's in Reflex. Reflex would be the go-to for him, or Relentless, just to get out more of his A3 move. We have him built to be tanky and fast with enough accuracy. My second Geomancer, who I'm working on, he's actually pretty much rolled up. You can see he is not as tanky, not quite as fast, but he's got more resistance and accuracy. So I'm kind of trying some builds like that. We'll see how it goes. He is coming in with this mastery, War Master, extended debuffs, more chance to place debuffs. Decrease accuracy with an AoE A1. Fantastic. Unfortunately, if we jump to the run, unfortunately, as we can see, yeah, here we go. As you can see, the Head of Mischief is Spirit Affinity. That's a bad affinity for Geomancer, so that's a bummer. He won't land decreased accuracy that often, but when he does, that makes it much easier because you can much more easily start resisting the turn meter steals and the buff steals, especially the turn meter steals. That actually makes a big difference, so it's really good. He also has a remove all buffs from the target. You can use this on manual when you need it, but I actually found I didn't need it at all this run, thanks to Pinthroy. And then this is what he's here for. He has the 3-turn cooldown, HP burn and weaken for 3 turns, and then with his passive, he's decreasing all your damage by 15% just all the time. Amazing. Deflecting that onto each enemy he has put a HP burn onto, and he also does max HP damage when he himself is attacked and deflects stuff. So it does tons of damage. He's fantastic. Geomancer MVP. We have Rector Drath in to heal us. She is a revive. She has a heal that can give us Perfect Veil. This will help us with Head of Torment, the Fearing Head. She heals us and gives us resistance with Perfect Veil is on. And then actually her A1 that can put decreased attack. Let me see if we can see us using it here at all. Maybe. But with Rector Drath, I actually, to jump back and forth a bit. If we jump back to her masteries, I actually have her in Increased Resistance Mastery. I don't have her in War Master. And that's actually kind of nice because what it lets you do is that with her, on her turns, right, she's not going to be doing her revive that much. You're pretty much going to be doing her heal, mostly on cooldown. And there you go. You can see it's going to give Perfect Veil to a lot of people. There's no Fear Head out right now. There you can see that buff steal coming in from Pinthroy, which is pretty sweet, stealing that reflect damage, which is actually awesome. I want to do more stuff with reflect damage in the future. Just haven't got around to it yet. Hilariously, the reflect damage then gets stolen back. Wow. Which I thought was kind of a laugh. But anyway, almost killed poor old Royal Guard. But yeah, with a Rector, because she basically does no damage whatsoever, we can actually use her A1, which is a 50% chance to put decreased attack, to just go around and place those decreased attacks. So always try to keep decreased attack with her on Head of Wrath. It's bad affinity. It's going to take you a few turns, but that really helps you out, actually. And that, yeah, then on Head of Torment, if it's not going to put True Fear on her, that's a good one too. Just really on anything, you can get those decreased attacks out. And it's quite handy because she doesn't even need to hit decapitated heads. Yeah, they take way more damage, but she doesn't do any damage anyway. So here we go. We're just like, oh, we'll put decreased attack on him. Pretty cool, right? So that's a fun little thing. With Rector, that actually works really well with her A1. And for her stats, I have her built out like this. So actually lots of resistance. So she can resist the Head of Mischief. We're slightly too low for Nightmare Hydra here. I'd like a bit more. But other than that, she's actually really good here. So fast, nice and tanky. Yeah, she's great. Enough accuracy for Nightmare and almost enough resistance for Nightmare. Could probably glyph her up and stuff a little bit more. But yeah, that's how she is running. And I'm really happy with that. And then it's just Royal Guard to talk about, isn't it? Yeah, it's just Royal Guard. Here we can see her popping off those extra turns. Love it. So to mention Royal Guard, this one was a bit of a surprise to me. I was trying with Husk. My Husk, though, isn't actually geared the best. I need to swap his gear. Like, he doesn't have full crit rate. He's too slow. His crit damage isn't that high. So my Husk definitely needs some love. So I actually decided not to use Husk. I just brought out the Royal Guard again, just instead, who again could use some better gear. But I was like, yeah, I'll bring him out. He's actually bad affinity for the start of this run. He's not great. But seeing as we have Mother Cybele and we have Geomancer representing red affinity, you know what? Royal Guard being able to hit those spirit affinity champs is pretty nice. So what have we done with him? We basically build him 100% crit rate, loads of crit damage, and then just build him tanky. Right, so for example, you stick him in a HP percentage chest, crit damage, gloves, speed boots, and then you try to get him 100% crit rate, more crit damage, and yeah, just health and stuff like that. That's all you really need. He has a bit of accuracy, and actually he's going to have plenty of accuracy thanks to Archbishop giving him more. For his masteries, he actually is into War Master, extended debuffs. He can put decreased defense on his A1. He can put decreased speed on his A3. And then it's his A2, which is the big thing. Scales off enemy max HP. So again, his attack doesn't actually matter. It's all about crit damage and enemy max HP. And this is where all of that damage comes from. And it's so, so strong. So here we go. We can watch a little bit more of the run here. In fact, as you can see right now, I didn't actually intend this, but we're approaching the crucial number. No, it's not 1 key. Of course, we're talking about turn count 69. Nice. But yeah, as you can see, it does get a little bit sketchy in terms of there's going to be some randomness with the Head of Torment. He's the head that's the blue one with the glowy, lightningy things. But because with this team, our only source of Perfect Veil, which is our only way to avoid the fear, is, and you can see here, we're always going to prioritize breaking people out even over hitting those heads. But because of that, we're not super consistent. Like Rector won't put Perfect Veil if she doesn't fully heal someone. So you can try to play around it a little bit, but it's not going to be perfect. So you will get True Feared. You will miss some turns. It is going to be a bit random. But you just have to play around it, basically. And you have enough healing and backups that's going to be okay. It's quite annoying if you miss the turn with Lydia. Lydia basically counterattacks whenever someone gets feared. So she's going to be true fearing herself all the time. She's a real idiot, is old Lydia, unfortunately. So here we go. Again, holding our debuffs here until we come back around with the Head of Decay doing his cleanse. And now we can start slamming some stuff. Yeah, here again, I'm going to be saving Royal Guard Slam. I think it was the only time in the run I actually delayed it just to sync up a little bit better with Lydia actually placing the decreased defense and weaken just to get more damage out. Might actually line up okay. Yeah, it will actually line up great here with Head of Wrath coming in. And that's basically the strategy that we were employing in this run, right? We're just always considering this stuff. I was really prioritizing killing the Head of Torment quickly when I could, just to get rid of those True Fears, make it a bit more consistent. But that's basically it. Again, look, didn't land this time, but Rector Drath, we're targeting the Head of Wrath. Try to get that out. I don't know if you can hear my dog barking. The window's open, so maybe you can. But yeah, that's basically it. Again, with Lydia, using your backup block buffs to try get block buffs onto Head of Wrath to stop his increased attack, stop his vengeance buffs, or else putting it on the... There's lots of stuff going on here, but as you can see, we're just going to skim on through. We're blasting on through. The full footage is up there if you guys want to see it. But look at this. We're coming to the end, and it all starts falling apart at the end because they're eating you so much, and the True Fears are really messing us up. But we come to the end. Boom. 43.74 million damage dealt. If we jump into it in game so you can see their sets and stuff as well. Here we go. Here we go. Perfect. Look at this. So, boom. 43.74 million on hard. And yeah, you can see the actual damage breakdowns. You can see the sets. I think it's pretty straightforward. As I said, Rector Drath doing almost no damage, but she's giving us all that healing and the Perfect Veil, which is more damage reduction, helps with Head of Torment. You can see Pinthroy actually brings a lot of healing. He's very solid. He's very much like Ugo. You can bring Ugo. You might run into a couple of affinity issues, but I think Ugo is going to work just fine. But Pinthroy's brilliant this rotation as well. I was really impressed with him. He does a good solid amount of damage. Lydia as well doing a good solid amount of damage, bringing us some of those crucial debuffs and buffs. Again, increase speed, decrease speed are your friends. Geomancer topping out the damage with his reflections. So that is awesome. Geomancer is so good for this. Did I bring the wrong one? Oh, look at that. I brought the wrong Geomancer. I actually did bring the Reflex Geomancer. Oh, shit. Okay. So it was the second Geomancer I showed you is the one I brought, the less tanky one. Obviously for hard, he's still so tanky. I didn't even notice. So yeah, you can do the less tanky Geomancer with Reflex set. It clearly pays off because he did really good damage. And Royal Guard, his damage was a bit lower. Not the best rotation for him, but it's still, as you can see, he still performs well. And especially here on hard, where we're killing heads all the time and there's new heads coming up. This comp can handle every single head, no matter what head pops up. You are good, you are covered. And Royal Guard's actually very good against the other heads that come up. Like, they are good affinities for him. So he's fine there. He's just bad against two of the starting heads. But he's just fine. He works just fine. Husk, probably slightly better this rotation, but Royal Guard, he's just fine. And Mother Cybele, as you can see, with Archbishop Pinthroy providing us so much healing and increased defense, she's actually quite free to just spam the A1. And she's obviously not going to do as much damage as Royal Guard or Geomancer, but really consistent decreased speed and actually doing solid damage. Not quite twice as much as Lydia Archbishop, but almost twice as much and about half as much as Royal Guard. Not bad. Not bad by any means. There she is. And yeah, so you can see here in terms of the affinities, we got these two heads are force. But I thought, you know, bringing a mix of affinities isn't too bad. And yeah, 20.4 is what we needed. 43.74 is what we got. More than double. Guys, thank you for watching. Hope that you enjoyed. And yeah, good luck with your runs. Let us know in the comments any like tweaks that you make to this or how your runs go, etc. Obviously, like I said, if your gear is worse, you're going to have a tougher time. Hopefully, though, I've given you a lot of ideas for this rotation. I might do some more experimenting, especially this week. I'm not probably going to bother with Nightmare, so I'll try out some other teams, building around other champions entirely. Well, mate, I'm going to use I have a second Geomancer. I'm going to use the second one. He's just too good. But yeah, I'll do some videos of other teams and for the next week, maybe 2 weeks or so, and then I'll be diving into Nightmare to see what is the best possible sort of team we can put together for this rotation. I'm going to definitely be trying this team on Nightmare. I think this team will carry over well. The max HP damage scales really well, so we'll see. Guys, thanks for watching though. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.